Welcome back to Craft Politics, everyone. I'm Joseph Lavoie, joined by Andrew Percy and Holly Momby-Croft, and a series of unfortunate events. A lot of us getting sick, UK flu, kids getting sick, a whole bunch of other things. End of year stuff meant that we were not in your feed the last couple of weeks, but we're happy to be back because this is going to be our first ever year-end special, which means I think two things. One, we're going to make predictions that we'll probably absolutely regret. And two, later in the show, Andrew and Holly have been given some editorial control over some of my beer notes. So apologies in advance. Andrew, Holly, you guys are doing well?
Yeah, they're good, thank you. Excited to do this.
I'm
And it's really nice to
well,
talk,
good.
to have like a sensible conversation because I had a really unbelievably boring lunch today.
Holly and I have been for lunch. Where did we go, Holly?
I went to the Hope and Anchor. It was very posh.
The Herp and Anchor in South Ferriby, which used to be my constituency. And when we were there, it's a very nice pub on the banks of the Humber. And we suddenly remembered when we were there, didn't we, that we think they invited Keir Starmer when he was leader of the opposition. And we were like, oh, should we be offended by this? And then we both concluded at the same time that, well, they won't be inviting him back, given how he screwed the pub industry and hospitality generally.
Yeah, we felt quite relaxed, didn't we? We felt fine.
Yeah, we were like, it's like, how did that work out, inviting Keir Starmer? So I'm sure it was a non-political visit.
Does that mean you guys are like on your fourth pint of the day? What are you drinking?
No, we were driving.
We were driving.
So
this is
we
the
had
first.
Diet
This
Cokes.
is
All right.
Swan Black, which I picked up in the Lake District in Cumbria. So I'm sure it'll be delicious. What have you got, Andrew?
I'm on Gibor Brewing, which is from Israel.
Very cool.
So, and it's a Bavarian wheat craft beer, but I thought I'd better drink it because I want it out of the fridge. Someone bought me it. I would never buy it myself, but because it's a wheat craft beer. Oh, it's a very nice colour. I just poured myself a stout, and then I looked and I realised it was a stout I'd had in the fridge from Northern Monk since COVID, when we did an online beer thing.
Well, in the spirit of our later section of the programme today, taste it and tell us what you think.
Yeah. Speaking of the program, here's what we got in store for you guys today. We have a quick warm up. We're just going to do some rapid fire stuff. Then we'll get into predictions for 2026. Then some trivia. And then we'll close out with a review some of my beer tasting notes for those of you that are into that kind of stuff. And then finally, some year-end awards. So let's get into it. Rapid fire warm up. So here, the idea is just one sentence each, no explanations. I will start the sentence and you guys will finish it, and I may participate as well. So I'm going to read out, so only three of these. Number one, the word that best describes this political year is...
Fruitless.
Fruitless.
Because they've all tried so unbelievably hard and just nothing seems to go right for anybody.
That's true. Apart from Putin, maybe. He seems to have had a good year, sadly. Chaotic. Because everything's just chaos.
Shit,
it's chaos everywhere. Oh, well, the other words. Just get a thesaurus. Messy. So, yeah,
nice.
Just chaotic.
Okay.
Everything's just been complete chaos.
It's been absolute chaos, hasn't it? I think about like where we were a year ago. Like we haven't even gone through the inauguration yet. And that just seems like such a totally different world. Jesus. Like at least on this side, Pierre Poilievre was supposed to become prime minister. Trudeau was on the outs. We weren't yet clear on just how disruptive Trump was going to be. 12 months is such an eternity in this business. All right, good. Next one. The story everyone thinks they understood, but didn't.
Holly.
Ford's Super Bowl ad. Because I'm still convinced I don't quite understand the genius of this, but I know it's there somewhere.
Just because you love him. I am going to buy you a Doug Ford t-shirt, so we must send you one.
No, we should. Just fit out your wardrobe with a bunch of them.
All Doug Ford.
You could put them on rotation on the show.
What was yours, Joseph?
On that one?
Yours.
I was going to say, actually, the tariff stuff. The Trump tariff stuff. I think actually it was one of our very first guests on the show, Janice Stein, who said, and I keep coming back to this, that Trump and the US just have a revenue problem. and the tariffs were an attempt at fixing a revenue problem. I think in the all the follow-up coverage and the political analysis of the tariffs, I think got so distracted by motive, and we got distracted by the characters
Principle.
involved and principles and all that kind of stuff. And I think it sometimes I think we just got to go back to basics. And like every government right now, every government's facing some type of revenue challenge, and I think that's one of the most misunderstood stories of the year. What's yours, Andrew?
I think that's a good one. I went for the UK Labour government, Rachel Reeves' press conference announcing she was going to break the manifesto commitments on income tax or national insurance. And I think we all pretended we understood it, but at the same time, I still don't understand it. I still can't get my head round why they put themselves through all that pain, even if they were going to break the manifesto commitments, the platform commitments. I still don't know why you do it that way. And then they didn't break them. I kind of pretend to understand what was going on in their heads, but I just don't. I have absolutely no idea why. And there's a whole other, there's plenty of other stuff in the run up to the budget that just none of it makes. I don't understand any of it, even though we pretend when we do our analysis to fully understand what they were trying to do. I'm completely buggered by it.
I feel like you could say that about just anything Labor has tried to communicate over the last 12 months. I think we all try to pretend we understand it, and none of it makes any sense.
This is true. This is true. But yeah, I just think I just find that so bizarre. So.
And to close out our rapid fire, next question. The thing we are all pretending won't matter next year, but absolutely will. Maybe I'll go first on this one.
Go on then. Go on.
I actually think a referendum on separation in the province of Alberta in Canada. So the committee that wants this referendum has just cleared the latest hurdle. Elections Alberta is giving them permission now to go and appoint a CFO. So this locomotive has momentum, and Central Canadians typically, I being formerly one of those types of people, used to just so easily dismiss Western separation or frustrations with Western Canadians placed in Confederation. It's still, as far as I can tell, the quote unquote sort of separatist cohort in the electorate is still not large, but I think because there's momentum on this thing, I just feel like it's a story that so many people are just refusing to give appropriate attention to. It's kind of being reported out in a bit of a dismissive way. And I think I don't yet think we fully understand what the downstream consequences of this story is going to be.
I think, it's certainly I think most people aren't awake to it. If they're especially in Eastern Canada, right? Nobody's really woken up to this. So good.
Holly, what's the thing that you think we're all pretending won't matter next year, but absolutely will?
I'm slightly out of sync here because I thought this was going to be a very fun holiday special, and you two are saying really clever things, but I wrote down Andrew's age. So I have to apologize. I'm now trying to think of something really, really cerebral to say. But I mean, honestly, in the UK, defence spending, I think is going to be a massive topic of conversation next year. It hasn't been quite as massive as it perhaps should have been this year. But second to that, Andrew's age, it is a big year next year.
It is. I am turning 40, so it's getting there. I went with house prices in the UK because I read an interesting article yesterday which had house prices in central London in 2025 in the borough of Westminster fell by 8%, 7.9%. So, and this is just a thing that's been happening there. The housing market's just completely dead. Even though interest rates have started to shift and mortgages have been opened up and all the rest of it, it just seems like something's going on with house prices and nobody's really. I mean, there's articles about it because I read one yesterday. But I just kind of think people aren't really, because that's what I do, read stuff online, Joseph, like you. Don't just rely on AI. So I think the house price thing is just going to I just think that's something that people aren't really talking about, but I think this is really, really quite serious.
That's interesting. I think that might also apply this side of the ocean as well. The real estate market just seems to have hit a bit of a slow period. I'm noticing anecdotally around me, houses are being listed and on the market for an eternity before they're being sold. And you're starting to see, at least in some of the quantitative data that keeps coming out, every other month, value prices are starting to decline. So I think that's gonna be interesting because obviously I think the impact there politically is just you have people who own those assets typically want to see that the value of their homes grow, but that is obviously adverse to a much increasingly larger share of the voting population that actually wants access to those assets. And that's going to create, I think, ongoing political tension.
Plus, the price of gold has gone up again, and all this is, perhaps a hint and a sign that maybe the world economy is in a much worse place than people have. I mean, we know it's not in a good place, right? The Western economies, but I'm not really sure people are really alive to how bad a lot of the fundamentals underneath. Like, you look at productivity, you look at rising unemployment, you look at house prices, you look at this dead growth, inflation has been kind of bumpy and choppy. So I just think there's a whole set of stuff that could mean this is a really depressing way to end a year. I thought this was meant to be fun, Joseph. Can you get us doing some fun stuff?
Yeah. Let's
just let's talk about serious politics.
I think we should add to that as well the retail stuff, because you and I were talking today about how many places in the UK have got sales early. You go to a supermarket which would normally, like 2-3 days before Christmas, be absolutely packed, and everybody's arguing in the car park because there's nowhere to park and trying to buy the last turkey and all of this stuff. And it's just not that busy at all. People are not shopping. It's not packed. I think it's going to be a really, really slow year for retail.
It's almost as if you put taxes up, increase regulations, and constantly tell everybody that the economy is completely effed. It's almost like people respond to that.
Blasphemy.
It's like
blasphemy.
It's really weird. If you think if you think the new government in UK came into power, having won this massive majority, telling everybody there was a massive black hole and that they have to put everyone's taxes up. Now, we know that was a lie, but putting the taxes up was true. And then they've continued to put taxes up, and we know the possibly a lie told at this last budget, or certainly an accusation of being slightly economical with some of the figures around the fiscal position. Like, maybe if you just tell people that everything's shit, people will respond appropriately by kind of hoarding money and not being very happy and not wanting to spend. So it's certainly the excuse I'm going to use for the fact I haven't bought anybody any Christmas presents. I'm just going to say, ask Rachel Reeves. Look, she keeps telling us it's terrible, so I've had to save all the money so I can spend it on myself. So, because those holidays don't pay for themselves, do they? So
I like that. All right, good. Well, you want me to keep it less serious, but I'm afraid we'll have to keep it serious just for a touch, because we're going to move into predictions, and we have 3 different categories. We'll each give a prediction. Our first category is going to be a serious prediction, like one that we actually have high confidence in. Then we're going to each share a spicy prediction.
Oh, sorry. Did anybody notice one of my lights has just gone out? I don't know whether this is. Are the Labour government rationing electricity now? I just want to check, Holly, because I'm back in the UK. Like, do we only have power between certain hours? But one of my lights has just gone out. Anyway, so there we are. So anyway, sorry, I interrupted that really boring introduction, Joseph. So carry on.
Make him go first.
After spicy predictions, we'll do round 3, which is nobody's talking about this. All right. So serious predictions. Let's go to Andrew first.
If I'd made this prediction 6 months ago, I would just have left it with the Conservatives will have a new leader, and would have asked you to guess which country, Canada or the UK, that is true for. I actually think it's more true now for one than the other, whereas I said there was a reasonable chance, equal chance for both of them. So guess away. Ooh, look how exciting I made it, Joseph, there by doing a bit of participation.
A little intrigue.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you think Pierre Poilievre's out and Kimi Badnack is still around this time next year. Am I right?
Yes. I think that doesn't mean one wants this to happen, but I'm just saying I don't think there's been 2 defections. You look at the Angus Reid polling about Pierre Poilievre's ratings amongst Conservative voters, which had dropped quite a lot. If we get to an election, the polling looks like the result could be the same as it is now. If the polls are the same way they are today, I can't see why Carney wouldn't take the chance perhaps next year. So I think there's every chance the Canadian Conservatives will be looking for a new leader. I would have said the British Conservatives would be, but by a series of, we can debate whether it's accident or design, but certainly seems like the Tory leader, Kemi Badnack, is having a better time at the moment. I think some of that might just be because Reform have had a bit of a torrid time, and people who aren't Labour are not going to go probably Green. If they're voting Reform, they'll probably come back to the Conservatives, but she certainly had been a bit more sure-footed. So I think the chances of her, although the local elections will be very bad in May still, if they're allowed to happen, of course, because Labour are currently banning elections, which is a good way of making sure you don't lose them. But if Scotland Wales goes really bad,
that's a good way of pissing off the electorate.
Anyway, that's my. Oh,
Well,
but what are they going to do? Go to
that's
the ballot
a
box? Because they can't.
that's an interesting take. Mine is related to that, but I want to get Holly's reaction to your prediction first before I crowd us out here.
I think that's good. I think that's a perfectly reasonable, sensible prediction. Yeah.
Yeah, Kem is
Hmm.
safer now than she was 6 months ago, right?
In
And why
particular,
is that?
because there's not an obvious person who would be a great idea to swap her with at this point.
I think that helps. And she
Hmm.
had a good reaction to the budget. The poll ratings for the Tories have, I mean, they're still well below the awful, terrible election result we got in 2024. So, you know, they're not exactly on 35%, but they're still below that. But it just kind of seems to have steadied the ship a little bit. And she's had some positive editorials. And I mean, as I said at the time, I think it's hard to do badly against such an awful budget. But anyway, I think that she's probably in a better position.
Well, okay, so you think Pierre Poilievre has not so great chance of being around this time next year. My serious prediction for next year is that Canada goes back to the polls. I'm thinking sometime fall of 2026, and the Conservatives win.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So there's obviously a lot of talk of Mark Carney trying to engineer a majority through these floor crossings. So for our listeners who probably not Canada side, because we have a lot more UK listeners now. That actually we do have Canadian listeners. The Conservatives there's been like Prime Minister Mark Carney is currently in a minority government situation, has been like enticing and pulling over some Conservative Tories, have been floor crossing. And so he's getting much closer to getting into majority territory in the House. And so there's a lot of talk that he's just trying to get to that state so he can effectively govern in a majority government situation. I'm not so convinced that that's going to play out as well for him as others think. And I also think the team around him is going to be very enticed, very incentivized to go to the polls in fall 2026. Why is that? Well, because the NDP is weak, and as far as I can tell, continues to be weak. Now that may change. They're heading into a leadership vote themselves, and maybe their numbers turn around. But if I'm in the Liberal war room, I'm thinking we have a decently popular prime minister. The opposition parties are in a bit of disarray. Pierre Poilievre's personal numbers are extremely negative and drawing down his party's brand. The NDP is nowhere to be seen. It's the perfect time to go to a vote. And by the time you're like fall 2026, hopefully you have you could demonstrate momentum, a couple big initiatives. You feel like you've got the case to be made. Now, the thing where I think the piece that everyone's got wrong is that the polling numbers, yes, they indicate that Pierre Poilievre may be a bit of a draw on his party's ballot. But when I look at those numbers, I don't see massive popularity for Mark Carney. Like I actually still see an incredibly divided electorate when I look at the national polling numbers. And it's a much tighter, much tighter race right now, I think, than anyone's giving it credit for.
Look, Carney's personal ratings are well above Pierre Poilievre's, but they don't seem to be affecting the overall position of where the two parties are, right? Which is, as you say, this divided, like, you know, even if quite a lot of Conservatives don't appear to support Poilievre in the same way they did previously, the fact is they're still voting Conservative because they don't want the other guy because we're in this divided space. So, yeah, and then it comes down to in a tight election like that, you know, so have they pissed off a lot of people in British Columbia because of the pipeline issue? A lot of Liberals got their best result ever in BC, I think it was, or certainly for generations. At the last election, can they repeat that if, you know, when you're losing some of that coalition? Maybe not. So, yeah, look, I mean, it's perfectly possible he becomes Prime Minister. I just, that's my out there prediction of, well, not out there prediction, but just I just kind of think like, I don't know, even if we don't get to an election, if this keeps, you know, the crossings, all the rest of it, who knows? But anyway, that's where we are. So it's a good job we have different views there because that means we can't, like, you know.
Holly, what's your serious prediction of the year?
I'm really interested to hear Andrew's view on this because I suspect our views possibly differ a little bit. I think Reform will do well in the UK in any local elections we have in sort of springtime 2026, but I think they will start to lose traction nationally in the polling by the end of the year. And that is based on my gut feeling, but also just things that I'm hearing from people. There's an awful lot of upset which has just kind of rumbled on around these allegations that have been made towards Nigel Farage about things he's alleged to have said at school, which really have sat badly with quite a few people who have mentioned that to me. And I think as well, the issue about having a full complement of experienced colleagues with which to run a country. People are starting to get worried about Reform's ability to do that. So I'd be interested to know what Andrew thinks on that.
Yeah, I'm kind of not convinced because I think it's a bit like we all kept saying with Trump, if you remember, like, oh, well, people will see, people will like wake up to all of this. And the kind of elected him again, but also I think the kind of person who's voting reform, I think the professionals in inverted commas have been in power, i.e. the Labour and Tories for, decades. And they're the people they hate. And think we've messed everything up and destroyed the country and stopped Britain being a great country and all the rest of it. So I don't know whether the argument about experience will carry on through. I mean, I see the argument and I can see it's a perfectly rational thing to make. Just unless something really improves in terms of economy and people's feelings about themselves and their own investment in society and their own forward progress in life, I don't see reform declining. Particularly because I just think, or maybe it's more, maybe it's populism won't decline, because I think that there is an argument you could make where the Greens, because they've had this rise under this Zach Palensky guy, on a similarly populist message of just, saying things that a lot of the electorate go, oh yes, even though, when you look behind it, there's not really a great deal. So maybe it's just populism won't reduce, but I don't know. I just kind of think reform are in for the long run, even though one shouldn't. I mean, the problem is, Joseph, what you've got us doing with this is, like, the one thing we've learned in recent years is no one should make predictions. And then all you've done is now, for about 30 minutes, have us made a load of predictions that will make us look like a bunch of uninformed tits next year. And, I don't know why you've done this. Like, I mean, everyone knows predictions are stupid at the moment.
We're still in the serious category. Wait till we get to the spicy stuff. Then we're going to really look like a bunch of tools.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, move on. Come on, because everything we're predicting will probably not come to pass. And then we'll just look like we don't know what we're talking about.
Well, I was going to just close out by reacting positively to Holly's prediction. I actually think there's something there. And but to your earlier prediction, Andrew, I wonder if Kemi actually starts to pick up some of those recently disaffected voters from the Reform camp. But that's interesting.
The thing going in Holly's favour is the British Conservative Party has been almost out many times before and always ends up coming back. So, there's the historical record is on Holly's side, I suppose.
Well, let's go back to Holly. Next round, spicy predictions. This is stuff that's a little bit out there. You still think you see a path to this prediction, but it's a bit out left field or right field, whatever. So Holly, what's your crazy spicy prediction for 2026?
Actually, just going back to a name that Andrew just mentioned, Zach Palensky, who is the leader of the Green Party here in the UK. He has had a really quite superb few months since he took over the Green Party. Huge social media presence. He's really become a household name in the UK. Lots of people are talking about him. So my prediction is, and I just stress now, I'm not wishing for this to happen to him, but my prediction is that the universe will not allow this trajectory to continue, because it never ever does. So I think we're going to see a political downfall of Zach Palensky. It's going to be like when somebody finds a video of you at university saying that you hate fluffy cats, or you haven't got any working class friends, or one of those kind of little things that kind of comes out and really causes a problem. So not hoping for it, but predicting something like that is just bound to be around the corner for him.
Yeah, and like the Brits really don't like success, right? So when anyone gets too big for their boots, it's that thing is like the classic thing of like hosting a North American excuse me?
Poppy syndrome. We have in Canada
the
as well.
North American thing is, your neighbor buys a nice car. People in North America, oh, they've got a nice car. They're doing well in life. You buy a nice car here, people are like, oh, look at them showing off with that fancy car.
But they've got that
rubbing
on
everyone's
HP.
noses in it. Yeah, I bet they've got it. They can't afford it. Yeah, look at who does she think she is? Who does that Mrs. Mumbycroft think she is driving out of a drive on that 5-year-old Ford Fiesta? It's like getting above a station. But yeah, so.
But honestly, though, the universe will not let that carry on. There's no way. Absolutely no way. We will see.
Interesting. All right, Andrew, what's your spicy prediction?
Well, I don't really have one beyond. I just have this sense that like that something's going to kind of happen in Labour this next year, which is going to be like, because there's a lot of new MPs, they're all at Westminster, and we haven't really seen, like, I'm thinking spicy and kind of like scandal, kind of personal stuff and things like that. I just kind of think like the media has so much going on with, and I don't wish any of this actually, because I think it's awful when people go after people's personal stuff, but I just think like there's all these new MPs, like in the first term when we all came in 2010, the media was, because the coalition was quite competent, right? So they were always going after like drunk Tories, you know, Tories shagging around, all this kind of stuff. I just kind of think like Labour MPs, because everything's been so chaotic on a policy point of view, there's been so much stuff for journalists to write about. I kind of just sort of think like there'll be some spicy stuff comes out. I don't know what that'll be. You know, it could be politically spicy, could be personal spicy. I just kind of, I don't know, I just have in my gut that like they kind of like we don't really know these people as household names yet, a lot of them, and you know, by the like last, you know, year of the coalition government coming in 20 with all these new MPs, there were just stories, right? There's just stuff going on. It doesn't mean I wish it. I just kind of think that at some point the media is going to start going for people kind of personally as well. Now, doesn't mean it's good, but you know, and some of that might be, you know, some sexy stuff. Some of it might be like, you know, more financial stuff. It could be political, whatever. But I just think there's going to be a lot more going on in Labour politics.
So you predict for
I think that makes
2026 there may be some political scandals of some description involving any potential scandal-based material or issue.
You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah, good. And I think I'm going to be the only one whose predictions are going to come true next year. And I'm not just saying, Holly, I'm also going to say it might not just
vague.
It might not be just Labour. It could be other people as well.
It might not just be in the UK. It could be other countries as well.
Potentially anywhere in the world, I would say. Yeah. So,
good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the deep political analysis people come here for.
This is what people pay for or not pay for.
All right, here's my spicy prediction. It's a Canadian one. So for our UK listeners who don't quite follow Canadian politics, the province of Quebec is due to go to the polls this year. And right now, every single poll and every pundit is predicting that the Parti Québécois, which is a nationalist party, is going to win. And the separatists, I was going to say, and they are committing to, if they win, to hosting a third referendum on Quebec separating from the rest of Canada. The government, the incumbent government, is the CAQ, which is an acronym for Coalition Avenir du Québec. And the current premier has incredibly low polling numbers. And so the consensus view is that the CAQ are going to lose, the Parti Québécois is going to win, and Quebec is going to head into a referendum. My spicy prediction is that the CAQ and François Legault, the incumbent, surprise everyone with a incredible comeback, political comeback story, and actually end up winning the election to everyone's shock and surprise.
Except yours.
So that's my spicy prediction.
You were really shocked.
I think Joseph might have gone mad.
Now here, I'm not going to take full credit for this. I was speaking with a colleague of ours in Quebec when I was there in Montreal last week, Kevin Paquette. And so if this comes true, I will give full credit to Kevin for steering me in this direction. And if we're wrong, then I'll take full credit for having it wrong.
Well, the Liberals, the Quebec Liberals have just lost their leader, right? So
so I was going to say, here's what's happening. Right now, I think most voters in Quebec, if they're saying that they're supportive of the Parti Québécois in polls, are not doing so because they feel that they're not proactively doing so. It's the only place right now for them to park their vote if they're a bit frustrated with anyone else. And so I don't think the support that the Parti Québécois has is particularly strong. I don't think it's resilient. And I also think we've been so far out from an election that a lot of people just say, yeah, I don't like the current guy. I'll park my vote over there. Now, when you head in, you look like, as we're getting this is the year where we're going to have the election, and you've had the Liberal Party, which is a federalist party, has just lost their leader due to some ethical scandals last week. Had to resign. I don't see the Liberal Party of Quebec, even if they are able to appoint or elect a leader very quickly. I don't see them being able to demonstrate to voters that they're actually in any capacity to govern. And so I think the choice then becomes between the Parti Québécois and the incumbents, the CAQ. Now, the Parti Québécois, if they are so focused on the referendum, I think in a context where people are just scared shitless about holding on to their jobs, affordability issues, healthcare, real estate, all the stuff that we've talked about on the show before, I just think a lot of voters will go, I just And that's the last thing I'll say on this is that the support for separation in Quebec right now is extremely low. And so there's no burning desire among Quebecers to separate anytime soon. So I think if the Parti québécois leans in on that too much, it actually turn a lot of people off. And I think the CAQ still has time to build back up its support between now and the fall. So there you go. That's my absolutely insane prediction.
So your prediction is a party might win an election?
Specifically, the one that's in the absolute basement of the polls in Quebec right now.
No, I get it. That's an interesting. It's an interesting take actually, because
I like the
they
way you
could just
put it
end up being
together.
the. Yeah, it did. It was a lot of words, but
Yeah.
it was. And we didn't need them all. If I can be honest, we did not need them all. But that's the beauty of an editing suite, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good thing.
But no, it's an interesting one because you can see where it happens just by accident. Just kind of by accident, because everyone's like no one else to go for, so you just kind of end up going out holding your nose, and these things have happened before. So there we are.
And actually, that's the most interesting way to look at potential results. It's the most enjoyable way, I think, when you basically say this type of person, these type of views. If they can't go there, where do they go? And then just plot them all out. I think that's fascinating. Very considered, Joseph. Very good.
All right, let's move on to our final round 3. So this is a prediction for 2026 that we think nobody's talking about. Like what's the sort of the quiet shift that's going on? What something no one's really paying attention to? Drew, I'll go to you, then Holly, and then I'll weigh in with mine just because I've been monopolizing the mic a little too long here.
Well, I kind of went with. I just think that might as well relate to this podcast. I just think that there's a very good chance, Joseph, no one's talking about that, you'll have to leave the podcast due to an incident. And I don't know, Holly, what, I just be an incident. There'll just be an incident. It could be
Yeah, some people have said that you've been dropped by your publisher, HarperCollins, Joseph. Just a joke. No. We're not sure. We don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but we think maybe you'll be giving some pretty long explanation. And of course we'll support you, but we will also support your decision to step aside.
Yeah. I mean, you basically didn't help yourself there. I think that might be the incident. Do you remember that time when he just whined on about Quebec? Interesting though it was. But no, it'll just be an incident. And there'll just be words will be put around like chicken, clothes accidentally fell off, public park, things like that. People will say things. People will say, because people can be cruel. People can be cruel. Did you know he's really 55? All those kind of things, but no.
This is something we have experience of, isn't it? I mean, we've kind of spent a long time in an industry, a sector where if you're friends with people for long enough, this probably will happen.
Yes, I didn't say that didn't happen. What I said was there was no chicken.
All right. Well, that wasn't a great prediction. I'm just going to move on. Holly, what's yours?
My prediction, it's a very strong prediction, and it's based on research off the internet, is that Doug Ford and Donald Trump will become friends. Whoa. I just think there's probably something there. There's some similarities in their approach to PR. So let's see. Do you think that's possible?
Well, I do, in the sense of I can imagine a world in which where if the trade dispute just continues to lumber on with no resolution as we get towards renegotiation of the trade agreement, if that just no one feels like they're getting quite what they want, Doug Ford has presented himself as sort of the secondary Captain Canada to Mark Carney, and you could see a scenario in which if he's unhappy with the pace of negotiations, where he kind of just decides I got to make a run for this. Not to take away also from the fact that he also probably has ambitions, particularly if Andrew proves to be right, that Pierre Poilievre's out of the picture. You could see a scenario in which Doug Ford starts to eyeball that job. Anyway, so there could be a whole series of events that would have him step up into this role. And yeah, it's not that insane.
Too kind.
Sorry, I yet again blabbed on. Sorry,
what was yours?
It's too fucking early. So it's related to the election. Again, my view that we're going to have a federal election in 2026, but I think people are going to mistakenly cover the left versus right populist versus anti-establishment versus establishment angles. And I actually think, and this touches on a lot of themes that we've talked on already, that it's actually going to be a control versus chaos election. And that comes down to, I was inspired by actually a talk that David Coletto, a pollster here in Canada, gave. I was on a panel with him a couple months ago, and he talked about how Canadians are increasingly have this precarity mindset. There's just a massive amount of anxiety over the state of affairs. And even if things are not quite as bad as they could be, people feel like things are going to get worse.
I'm just going to go get a book while this finishes, but carry on. Yeah, sorry.
And so I actually think voters are going to be looking for someone who can demonstrate that they can wrestle some control over all this chaos. And that's going to be the ultimate driver and motivation for who they vote for. I was going to say a lot more, but you've chopped me at the knees, Andrew. Sort of bore you.
What's the weather like where you are, Holly? Is it all right outside?
It's a bit grey. It's a bit dull. But
yeah, because
right.
you're only about 30 miles
She's
away.
got the
I've got my
Rubik's Cube out
Rubik's
again.
Cube to just kind of fiddle with it.
I'm just watching the paint dry here that I did earlier.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on.
Really good. So hang on. So this, let me just be clear then. So the one that no one was talking about is that there could be an election in which the choice is chaos or stability, right? Because the thing we've been talking about for the last year, so yeah, great.
I just think we're moving to a post-left-right environment.
It's interesting, actually. That is a very interesting point. I think that there's something in that.
Well,
Thanks, Holly. And thank you for putting down the Rubik's Cube. You were triggering me.
It's right over there now. I'm holding my papers. And
she completed it. She had time.
Yeah, I've done it, yeah.
She's done it twice.
I've done it, and then I've mixed it up again, ready for next time.
All right. Well, speaking of smart stuff, let's move on to our next segment. We're going to do trivia. I think Holly's going to steer us through this one. So, Holly, I'm going to throw it over to you.
So let me just be very clear on what this is. To try to minimize the risk of us getting sued. So I'm going to read a series of headlines. Some are made up and some are real. And your task, two intelligent gentlemen, is to say whether they are real or whether they are made up. Okay. Headline number 1. Grinch Council bans Christmas wreaths over health and safety fears.
True, 100%.
That's got to be fake.
It is true. And it's like a little disappointing as well because it should say elf and safety fears.
It should say elf and safety.
Shame. Yeah, that was in the UK newspaper The Sun. So second headline, you ready? Former UK Brigham Ghoul MP Andrew Percy to be honoured for 25 years of public service with a knighthood from His Royal Highness King Charles III. Take your time and think, does that sound true? Could it have been a headline in the Gaul Times? Little bit of a clue there for you.
I mean, it could have been, but it wasn't, and it won't be.
Joseph, do you think that's true or false?
Yeah, I think my laughter gave it all away.
Okay. Next one. US could ask foreign tourists for 5 years of social media history before entry.
Ooh, I think that's true.
True. Quite right. Absolutely true. That was in the it was in the BBC, so it might be true, might not be true. BBC report.
We're going to get sued.
Next, we're getting sued for that one, are we?
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Doug Ford announced as 2026 contestant on The Amazing Race Canada.
In Holly's dreams.
Is it true? Guys, is it true or is it false?
It's false.
Joseph, you're going to say you're saying false?
Yeah, going.
Okay, next false. One. Sir Keir Starmer is considering an Australian-style ban on social media for British youngsters.
That's got to be true.
That'd be true, yeah. It sounds like something they'd want to do.
Good day for VPNs.
Rather than address the good day for VPNs, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
Next one. Nigel Farage tells donors he expects Reform to do a deal with the Tories.
True.
Joseph, go first.
He did say that, didn't he?
Are you saying true or false?
True.
What are you saying, Andrew?
You said true.
Yeah, what about you?
I say true as well. Joseph said true, right?
It's true. You're both correct. That was in The Guardian. Next one. Tory.
And then didn't he deny it the next day?
No, no. You've just got to wait. You've just got to be patient, Andrew. Go for the next headline. Okay, right. Tory Reform Pact talks not happening at any level says Richard Tice, who is, I believe, the deputy leader of the Reform Party. Is that true? A real headline or a false headline? Yeah, it's true. I think it was like 2 or 3
Like
weeks
literally
later.
within 12 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
very happy family.
Was it? Yeah.
Next one.
We're into chaos again.
We have got one more left. Former Brigginghall MP Andrew Percy to be honoured with an elevation to the House of Lords.
Or even a BEM. I mean, not even a BEM, Holly. Come on, like, you know,
I
a
think
Blue
we should
Peter
get
badge.
you like, could you not at least get a Blue Peter badge?
A Blue Peter badge. I could someone could just buy one off the internet and give it to me.
I think I've got my 10-meter swimming badge somewhere. I'm going to get it out and you're going to have it
Oh.
because you deserve to be rewarded. Right, anyway, let's stick to the game. Is it true or is it false?
It is indeed false.
And Joseph?
It's going to
Yeah.
be false.
Sadly,
turned them
guys,
down.
it is false.
Hey, were you
It's a great
keeping score?
shame.
Weren't we supposed to keep score?
Yep. Joseph
think I'm-
got 10 points and Andrew got 3. Well done, Joseph. Very strong performance. Very good.
Workplace bullying.
Are we
That
moving
was-
to the
that
next
was fun.
game, which is Who Said It? Right, okay. So this game, I read out a quote, which may... Oh, no, they're all true. I read out a quote, and it's a real quote, or quotation, or whichever way around it is, and you guys have to say who said it. You ready?
Oof, it's going to be harder.
Okay. First quote. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't particularly want to wipe someone's bum. Do you want a clue? Because it was on BBC Question Time.
It's got to be. Wasn't the health secretary? Was it?
Good guess. Good guess. Do you want to be told?
Yeah, I'm going to take
Leader
0 points
of
on this
the
one.
UK Green Party, Zach Polanski.
Oh,
Do you remember it now?
Remember that?
Yeah,
now,
I'd forgotten
actually.
it. They were talking about, actually, he went on to say how grateful he was to people who worked in the care sector. But that sentence in isolation proved a little problematic at the time, I think.
yeah.
So the next quote, I'm really good at predicting things, you know. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. Who said that?
I'm predicting
Liz
that's Andrew
Truss.
Percy.
Liz Truss. Good guess, good guess. And it wasn't Andrew Percy. It was, in fact, USA President Donald Trump during an address to the United Nations General Assembly.
Yeah.
He does it very well on these.
Of course, it had to be.
Right.
What does that say, though, that I hear Donald Trump and I hear Andrew Percy?
Well, he heard Liz Truss. Okay. So the next one, this is number 3.
All cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
The Holy Trinity.
Not a strong performance. I'm quite surprised. I have to make these easier next time. Whether it's pronouns or DEI or climate activism, these issues aren't about kindness. They are about control. We have limited time, and every second spent debating what a woman is a second lost from dealing with challenges.
Would that be Nigel Farage?
Good
I said
guess.
Pierre
but
Poilievre.
not correct. No, it is leader of the UK Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch. In the
I
conference
nearly
speech.
said Kemi.
Yeah.
I nearly said Kemi because, like, she does seem to be into that. And also, like, it just kind of like sounded reformy, but a little bit more moderated. So I kind of thought new Tory, but
I mean, I'm reading them in a very neutral tone as well, which is probably making it a little bit more difficult. But I'll
That's
carry on
throwing us
doing
off.
that. Okay, the next one. I originally saw AI as a massive efficiency gain, and I had it all wrong.
Fuck. That's me.
Yes,
Isn't it?
it's you, Joseph.
Is
well
it Joseph?
done.
Is it?
Sneaked that one in just as if you were concentrated. So finally, we've got some points on the scoreboard. Well done, Joseph.
Doesn't Joseph love AI?
Very well. And we're nearly finished. We just got a couple more. Okay. Next one. I'm an insomniac, staring at the ceiling, waiting for my thoughts to switch off. Yes, I'm an insomniac. I'm an insomniac, and all I can hear is that clock. You will kick yourself when you don't get this. Because do you remember this?
I remember this.
Who
I
did it?
remember this. It was Andrea Jenkins.
Yes, Andrea Jenkins singing.
Dame Andrea Jenkins.
She sang it.
Mayor of Yes, Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire,
Well
former
done.
Conservative MP, now the Reform Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire, at the Reform Conference came out singing it, because didn't she write it or
I
something?
think it is her song. Yeah, I think it's her song, and she came out singing it. And honestly, like, it is so catchy. Anyway, well done. You both got 1 point, which is not that spectacular considering we're on the 5th one. We are now on number 5. Because friends, let me tell you this. In the immortal words of Frank Sinatra, the best is yet to come. And yes, friends, I will keep doing it my way. So get the bungee harness ready, because my ambition for our party, our values, our ideas has no ceiling. This is not that hard. Think who it could be. Try really hard to think.
I know who. I think I know this, but I'm going to Joseph
It's a bit more difficult for Joseph, I think. Because he didn't come to any of the conferences this year, I don't think.
No.
Who could it be? Do you want to be
I was
told?
going to say with Nigel Farage, but
I notice you just say that every
there's
time.
something off about it. Yeah, I know, but it just feels off. That's why I'm.
It was Ed
That's gonna go with
Davey,
Kemi.
leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Yes, that's right.
So,
His fiery speech.
It
That's
is
right.
right.
That's right.
Okay, we've got 2 more left. Andrew Percy lost his seat to Eleanor Taylor in a nationwide Conservative collapse. Who said this?
Crocopedia.
Elon Musk.
Crocopedia. Well done, Joseph. Now you're in the lead because you've got 2 points.
Elon
Andrew's
Musk.
got 2 as well, but yours are a stronger 2.
But to be clear, that got corrected because it wasn't true.
Yeah, but it was on the internet, so it's kind of true.
A very wise man once said to me, I used to put all my faith in AI, but then I realized it's bollocks.
Yes. Okay, this is the last one, so try to get the points, okay? Because you've both got 2 points now, so whoever gets this one wins. Jury trials are a fundamental part of our democratic settlement. Criminal trials without juries are a bad idea.
David Lammy.
Holly Mumby-Croft said that.
Yeah, well, I do agree with that, actually. But no, yeah, it was David Lammy.
Yeah.
I think it was about 5 years ago. David Lammy, who is currently proposing the scrapping of quite a lot of jury trials. So, yes.
That's why the public love politicians, because of the consistency.
We should do a round,
people have a
actually,
principle and they stick to it.
next time on those ones where you can actually just show 2 completely opposing statements that somebody's made, because they're quite fun.
Oh, yeah, from the same person.
We should definitely do that. So,
Yeah,
well done to Andrew. You got 3 points. Well done to Joseph. You got 3 points as well, because I gave you an extra point because I like you more than Andrew. So you've drawn. Well done. You got the popularity
I bought
point,
you lunch
Joseph.
today.
Yeah, you've already paid for it, though,
I
haven't you?
literally
So
bought.
you're not in a very strong negotiating position now, are you?
This is true. This is true. This is true.
Okay.
Nice.
Right, I'm
All right,
handing back
good.
to you.
Well, that was a.
I think we're going to do beer now.
No, I
We
think
are
you're
gonna
handing it
do
over to
beer.
Andrew, probably.
Yeah, hand it back to Andrew.
Yeah,
because
this
we're
is
going to
beer.
move on to our beer segment.
Because I am unfortunately not only acquaintances with Joseph in life, in real life, I'm also an acquaintance, and I call it no more than that. When people say, do you know Joseph Lavoie? And I say, yes, Joseph Lavoie is somebody I know. On a beer app called Untapped, of which Joseph has put in quite a lot. But Joseph, I don't really know, went on this fancy course, blah, 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 to learn all about beer tasting. And he writes the most flowery notes. So I'm going to test him on a couple. Also, I just want listeners to hear what real... I was about to say real fanny you are, but I realize that's a really unacceptable thing to say now. So I apologize immediately for saying that. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking it. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking it. And just you can't say, it's a very northern thing, like when I was growing up, but you'd say a bit of a whatever. Anyway, so these are the sorts of notes we get. Well, this comes up a lot, which I quite like, which is...
I think we got to come up with a point system, don't we? Just to see how well actually
I thought we would just tease you. We would just read them out, and then we would just say how terrible they were and how embarrassing, and just tease you. But no, we can do points. You keep the points, Joseph, maybe.
Yeah, you get all the points. You're the winner here, Joseph.
I just thought we could do, 1 point if I guess the style, 2 if I guess the brewery, 3 if I guess
1
exactly,
point.
but I'm probably not going to do well.
Holly, keep notes and just make a number up at the end.
I got a point.
So 1 point for the beer style and 2 points for the brewery.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 3 if he gets the actual beer, the specific beer, he gets another point.
The name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So he's you know what he's like though. So he'll have gone through all 2,500 of his
No.
check-ins.
Yeah.
And on his many runs, he'll have been like, got some brain thing, like he'll be like, backcountry, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada.
All
Another
over
way of
his
remembering.
bedroom,
Anyway,
there
this
post-it
is
notes stuck all over the walls.
yeah. He's actually been training for this for a year.
That's why my wife decided to sleep downstairs.
Yes, that and other reasons. Anyway, he uses this quite a lot, reliable style treatment. I don't know what that means, but anyway, he likes reliable style treatment. But this is, let's try this one then. What a wet hot beer should taste like. A sweet resin in the nose with a light spruce note in the mouth. We've all had that. The sweetness makes way for a light bittersweet finish. What style of beer is it, Joseph?
Okay. That is it could be a pale ale or an IPA. I think it was a pale ale.
Was okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
it
fine.
was
1
it was
point.
an IPA. It was
And
an
I
IPA,
think-
not a pale ale.
No point.
Oh, it was an IPA. Shit. So it was a wet
Training.
hopped IPA. The brewery, I'm trying to think whose wet hopped IPAs I had this year. I'm gonna go with was it Three Dogs?
No,
Sorry, not
it
Three
was-
Dogs. Yellow Dog in Port Moody.
It was backcountry, Maple Bay fresh hop. Anyway, let's go to the next
Oof,
one.
0 points. All right.
Sulfuric nose is incredibly off-putting. I mean,
We all
you'd
agree on
think-
that, Joseph. That's
We all
a
agree on
given.
that one. But Holly's not over yet. But the flavors are promising. Light tart, some citrus, some janny fruit. Finish is rather nice, but that nose totally distracts Holly.
Fuck.
You didn't put the Holly bit in, but it's a
Who's
You a
beer is
married
that?
man,
Whose beer
Joseph.
is it?
married man. It's like this.
But she doesn't know about my untap.
And
Well,
Andrew
yes.
was reading these out in the restaurant of the pub where we just were, and I started feeling uncomfortable. Like people around, like, blimey, listen to him.
Yeah. They thought we were like talking
Yeah.
sexy and there's worse ones to come. So come on
Oh,
then.
fuck.
What's the incredibly off-putting sulfuric nose?
I think if it had sulfur, is a good chance that it was a lager.
No.
No,
It's an IPA sour.
whose was it?
I'm not using an awful lot of ink with my score pen here.
I'm
Scoring
gonna go
pen
with
here.
Three Dogs. Three Dogs in White Rock. No.
No, it was Changing Colours Brewery. And you're going to have to be quicker than this in future because it's very boring for the listener, all this dead air when your brain's
Okay, sorry.
working. So look at this one then, Holly. Ain't this something? All gin in the nose, deep brown colour, boost mouthfeel, lightens up quickly with citrus notes popping out, some light caramel malt notes. God, it's as long as when he talks about the cack. Some light caramel malt notes, but they really take a back seat to the gin and citrus, deceiving with the colour. Oh, this is a naughty little drink, this one. Look at it, deceiving you with its colour. Ooh,
That was
naughty,
like a
naughty
jet-
little beer.
I have to fan myself.
I know
Blind.
exactly.
Oh.
I'm a little bit like,
Temporal Ales is the brewery.
yes, correct.
Yes.
Point. 1 point.
The
2
one point I'm
points for
gonna
the
get.
brewery.
Deceiving with the colour. So think about that. Deceiving with the
Yeah.
colour.
I want to say it was a brown. It was a like a brown ale or
It was a black
Stout.
IPA.
black
A black IPA.
Oh,
So, but it gets
close.
2 points anyway for the
One.
brewery. Read one of yours, Holly, because I left you some, didn't
I've
I?
got one here. Works for a hot and humid Montreal night. Lime and light cereal malt.
Oh, this is so naughty.
This feels very intimate. I'm a little uncomfortable.
Just like you used to whisper like hot and humid
Humid.
Montreal nights. We've all had a hot Montreal
Really
night, haven't we? Where we've
painting
been
a
a little
picture
bit
for us
humid.
here.
So
Okay.
what is it then? Come on.
Yeah, what is it?
It was fun when Andrew was reading them, but Holly, you're making me blush.
Okay, wow. So it turns out I'm not as much as a turn on as you are, Holly. Well, who'd have thunk it?
Oh, fuck. Okay, I think that was a beer I had at. Oh my
Don't tell
God,
us you can't
that must
remember
start-
that.
I
Right.
It's a
can't.
night
I
to
can't
remember, isn't it? When was it?
It's a night. It's a hot Montreal night.
Yeah.
It was. I think it was a beer I had in May. No. Oh, if it was July. It was a hot, humid. I'm toast. I can't remember at all.
Okay. What was it, Holly?
It was a lime pilsner and Le Castor. Is that how you say it?
Le Castor.
Le Castor.
Le
Yeah,
Castor.
yeah, that's right.
No points.
Yeah, I remember.
So
I think that
Moving on.
that beer would be very hurt to hear that after such an encounter you can't even remember. It's very sad. Okay, the next one. Wow.
So next one.
Wow, just wow. looks gorgeous and tastes like a marvel. It's a Nelson Citra party with boomy flavours and still enough restraint to make it, oh, so drinkable. So
Well, I need a
must admit,
cigarette.
even I started to lose it at the end of it.
I'm gonna light a cigarette up. I'm just like, whew, I'm done. This is like,
man.
I think we're making an
Is that the-
ASMR video.
Is that the
aren't we?
Nectron? Is that going to be a
Come on,
Nectron
quick.
3030 from Backcountry?
Yes.
Nectron
well
3030
done.
from Backcountry IPA.
done. Yeah,
Just
3
wow.
points.
Ooh,
Amazing.
that means I get 6 points on that one.
You get
Ooh.
6 points on
Yeah,
that
you do.
one, and you
We
got
stopped
2
there.
points earlier on. So that's 8 points. Goodness
I've
me.
got to do.
It's
I've
really
got
seeing
2
another side to you tonight, Joseph.
We have. I'm going to do one now. This is a familiar
Do it in
theme.
a good voice.
It's hot. It's hot and humid out. And I'm having this on a patio after 25,000 steps. So my gauge is warped. Sweet malty nose, crisp body, semi-dry finish, and exactly what I want for the moment. Well,
I can't stop
like-
laughing.
it's like sexy until because I've just done 25,000 steps, everybody. It's like,
It's
we
like-
don't need to know how many steps,
It's,
because
like,
I've been out,
it's
right?
really sexy. Insert humble brag. Carry on being sexy.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That's it. But don't worry, it's exactly what he wants for the moment.
I think it was a Pilsner.
It was a lager, so it was a Hellas.
Oh, it was a
So,
Hellas.
right, family, okay.
No, it doesn't count.
Quick,
if I
come on.
say Pilsner and it's actually Hellas Lager. I can't remember.
Okay.
Who was
What
it?
about this one then? Beautiful head, a touch of sweetness, truer to the continental style than many North American interpretations. Sorry.
That's got to be a
Listen,
Pilsner.
if I have an asthma attack or something, you guys got to get me help, okay?
Oh dear. Anyway, yes.
It's a Pilsner, right?
It's Hellas again.
Ah, fuck. Hell. Okay, I keep
And
getting
it's-
those.
Which
Fuck.
microbrasserie?
Hellas.
La
Stop doing that with your lips.
Souche.
I can't. A swoosh. I don't even remember that beer at all.
Well, it had a beautiful head, apparently, whatever it was, and it
He's
was
a
with
love
touch
him
of
and leave him
sweetness.
type, isn't he? Can't even remember.
Yes, isn't he? Yeah, he's like, he gets them all there with his hot and humid talk, telling them it's just what he wants. Next thing you know, he's forgotten them. I did like this one though. This was like the final one, which is like this is naughty Joseph now, but not the naughty. This is like him breaking the rules. He's like, put this one in search. Illegally smuggled into the VFC game means it tastes better. Naughty Joseph.
Oh.
Get him
That's
like
illicit.
illegally.
Yeah. Did it add an
It was
extra
a
freeze
freeze
on.
on?
It was a Fuggles, wasn't it?
No,
It
it was
a Fuggles Pale Ale.
from. No, it was a pale ale, but it was from Container Brewing in Vancouver.
That's right, because Container Brews at Fuggles. Got the two confused.
Did you put it inside like a burrito and wrap it in foil and take it into the game? How did you get it in?
It was
It was
kinda
just really
tucked into
naughty.
the shorts. Just tucked into the
Oh
shorts.
God, no! That's like,
Well, one can only imagine what that looked like, Joseph. Goodness me.
well, I did tell you the name of the beer was Manifest as well. So it's like, is that a manifest or you're just pleased to see me? But basically, you are basically writing soft porn, Joseph. You just did. This is like when I was a kid and everyone got satellite TV, and for a time you could get German TV, right, on the satellite. And then there'd be all these soft porn things would come on at 11 o'clock at night on German TV.
I'm
It's just-
sorry. My exposure to German porn when I was in the hospital is it's not particularly soft. You must have had the light version.
It was on TV, but this is what this is. This is just soft porn. So I just imagine Joseph in a dark room writing all of these with his like, But
Ugh.
anyway,
Clearly, it's all wasted time because that was a piss poor score I got.
It wasn't a great
So
score, but
Okay, well,
it was enjoyable. I feel like I really have learned a lot about you looking at these reviews. And I think the people around us in the restaurant enjoyed it too.
can I just say that what everybody else took away from this is that, Joseph's a little bit horny for beer, right? What Joseph took away from it was that the overachiever took away from it was that he didn't succeed, and therefore he must go back to the drawing board and try harder and do better.
Next time he wants
Yeah.
to be able to say 35,000 steps in the middle of his
Yeah,
quite sexy review of a beer. Like, must run further for my beer reviews.
must do. Yes. Anyway,
Fucking hell.
lovely.
All right, let's move on. Let's close this out. We're going to do year-end awards. We'll keep these ones super quick. We'll go to Holly. I'll pipe in, and then Andrew. So random categories we've come up with. So Holly, you're going to start us off. The most predictable surprise of the year goes to...
Angela Rayner resigning over her housing issue. Not the fact that she did it, but the fact she had to resign.
Good one. All right. Mine is best attempt at spin. And the award, I'm giving it to Signalgate. Do you guys remember Signalgate? This was when a whole bunch of senior Trump administration of personnel, we're talking about JD Vance, we're talking about National Security Advisor, all these guys had a Signal chat on the go, and they accidentally added a reporter, and it was like weeks and months of them pretending they weren't actually disclosing highly sensitive battle planning materials on Signal, and then ultimately went on the attack and went after the reporter for doing his job, and it was both the best and the worst type of spin possible. And so Signalgate to me is who I'm giving the award to.
Good one. Yeah, good one.
Andrew, worst use of a chart.
Ooh, so I might have to share my screen for this. Am I allowed to? So I just might need a little tutorial in how to do that. But I'm going to share my screen. So, which I'm going to say again because I'm going to share it.
At the bottom of the screen, there's that
I'm just gonna,
button that says share.
like,
Click on that.
There we are. Look, I've done it, right? So I like a Lib Dem bar chart. So you probably don't know this, Joseph, but the Lib Dems in the UK have this like historic reputation for really doing very bad bar charts. The one on the left is an example of one they did a few years ago, which is, you can see Conservatives on 42, Lib Dems on 21, looks like they're just up to them, Labour 13. So they use these dodgy bar charts, right, all the time. And they kind of got a bit of a reputation for it. But anyway, so this is the one they've just put out at the end of this year, which is Lib Dems winning. Liberal Democrats have won more council by-elections than any other party in 2025. And it's kind of a bit misleading because what you take from that is that they've won. I think many people would think it's like, oh, well, they're winning more seats off other parties and all the rest of it. Actually, not true, because they held many of those seats. And actually, what's the really incredible figure here is the reform figure of 104. Again, from I think the overwhelming majority of them were gains that they've just taken off other parties, off everybody, basically, particularly Labour and the Tories. But yeah, I just quite liked the continued Lib Dem dodgy use of charts. Although this one, in fairness to them, is entirely correct. There's nothing dodgy in that sense. But it's I think you could take something from that which isn't really true, which is that they've won them they won the elections, but they didn't win them off anyone. So I think a lot of people would think that that's the more interesting figure, is who's been winning seats off other parties.
Yeah.
So, but I just like dodgy Lib Dem bar charts because they amuse me greatly.
I'm sure that'll
Well
have
done,
amused
Andrew.
everybody greatly. That was very good.
Yeah, if we haven't lost them by now, Holly, a phrase we never want to hear again. Award goes to...
Looks gorgeous and tastes like a marvel. Joseph. I cannot get that out of my head now. Please never say it again.
It's hot and humid. It's like I just pleased you didn't say it's a sticky night out. I was like, because that would be like, it's like.
All right. Well, guys, I think that was fun. I think that brings us to a close on our first year-end special. Any random final toast things you want to say, or do we sign ourselves off?
Yes, we say big thank you to everyone who listened over the last year.
Yes,
because it's very, very good of them to do that, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, I forgot to share that we got some interesting stats from Spotify, our end of year wrapped, and we're one of the most engaged, commented on, most successful podcast launches in a year, at least if I believe what Spotify tells us. So that's great. Can't do that without our listeners.
Indeed. And now we've got into porn as well. We're probably going to be even more popular. So like might set up an OnlyFans for some of these, because I think there's a lot of people who could find enjoyment in these.
Joseph,
You might have to,
wow,
you might have to put a
opening up
private
new
profile.
markets for us. It's very good of you, Joseph.
You might have to like make all your settings on your Untapped account private, Joseph, because you might be attracting all sorts of people who
Follower
are just
accounts,
like,
yes.
beer people who want to like, get themselves into a happy place, so to speak. But no, it's good that we have people who listen, and even the ones who comment. It's really nice, especially when you're like pretty twattish to us. We like that actually. So.
Yeah, keep it up. Keep it up for 2026. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We will catch you on in the new year. Bye from me.
Happy New Year.